Wicked, wicked, wicked.
I just feel really calm at the fully lengthened.
Wicked, wicked, wicked.
The longest road is probably consistency over time.
Wicked, wicked.
People, I have to stop saying like and right so much because people are commenting that I'm saying like and right a lot, and I am saying like and right way too much. So I need to stop that immediately. I'm going to be conscious of it now when I'm talking, like correcting myself mid-sentence. But I appreciate everyone that comments on my YouTube and like the interaction I get with people, and it's been really cool to see the feedback that people have sent me, like DM wise, and just telling me how I've helped them or how things have changed for them, or maybe they're feeling things better. So to everyone that writes those comments and follows along, I appreciate it, and it doesn't go unrecognized. Like, I'm not just out here thinking it's whatever. Like, I try to comment back to everybody, and I hope everyone understands that or appreciates that. But there's still like some people who come on trying to stir up shit. I don't think they're trying to stir up shit necessarily just because I think they genuinely have like a question or genuinely have like an issue with something, because maybe they've never thought about something that way, or maybe it's never worked for them, so therefore it couldn't work for someone else, which seems to be the case, right? So my argument this week and my kind of rant this week is kind of about benching, whether it's like, not so much on dumbbell presses, because we can talk about that after, but more so on a barbell press, whether it's a Smith machine, which I was demonstrating in a video, with a monkey grip or a false grip, whatever you want to call this grip, where you're tucking in, you're basically pushing off the meat of the palm and tucking into the groove of your thumb. Some people they still have that grip, but they wrap their thumb. Some people tuck, like I'm a tucker, I just tuck under. So I've just always done that way, and people are, like, there's always people who over grip the bar, whether it's like their wrist position is flat and they think that since this is a stacked alignment, which it's not though, because my wrist in this position can flop forward and flop back. It can do either one depending on what happens with my mechanics of my lift. Whereas if my wrist is pinned here and my weight's here, the only place the bar can go is off the front, which is not likely to happen because one, I'm going to be I'm stacking my elbow underneath my wrist, and my wrist is in a position where it's not able to bend in two different directions. It's stuck in one. So my wrist isn't going to break back this way. And I understand people's argument with me. This guy had an argument, I forget his name, sorry I forgot it. You'll know who you are. But it's like they saw me putting the bar here, and they didn't understand that, like, I'm gripping the bar against the palm of my hand and cupping with my thumb. I don't have the bar on the back of my knuckles like this, so it's like creating this pressure down on my hand. There's actually no pressure on the back of my hand or my knuckles, because the weight's here on my palm, stacked in my forearm. So if the bar's here, this is the stiffest pathway I can create, because the bar can't go anywhere else, right? So yes, if I had the bar back on my knuckles and things got tough, that thing's flipping out the back of my hand and hitting my throat. But the thing is here, like, the only way I'm going to come out of alignment here, so if I take this off, I realize there's no weight on this. But if I set up the way I set up, whether it's like I'm pulling myself up and setting myself down, so I'm stuck underneath the bar, I'm stuck in my arch position already. So if I take a position, whether it's Smith or whatever, it's going to be the same idea. I'm going to take off with a monkey grip here, and I'm flat across my palm. So people who are benching wrong, or incorrectly in my eyes, are going to be flared elbowed. So they're never going to be able to get this grip, because they think that it's this, they think that I'm here and I flare and I press up, and it's just pressing this bar up, which is not pressing. It's not correct if you want to hit chest, right? So if I'm tucked into my lat and I'm arched here and I'm here, I don't want to press like this, because I'm forcing my shoulder out of alignment and I'm rolling over in my press. Whereas if I'm tucked under here and I'm sucked into my lat, I drop into my lat straight line and I push up straight line. So I'm catching down straight, up straight. The bar path is efficient and straight and moves in the straightest line possible. So if I do this with my wrist open, or whatever the hell grip is that people are talking about with this overhand grip, the only way you can come down naturally is to create that open. I don't open like that, I open here. So my bar stays level the whole time and I press up. So I can hold here even with open hands, I can come down with open hand, I can push up with open hand. because I'm set, I'm balanced on my palm and I'm stacked on joints. And most people are getting this wrong. They're saying, oh, once the weight gets heavy enough, you're gonna have a hard time, your wrist isn't gonna be stable. One, my wrist is locked down. My hand, my wrist is here. The little joints in here, this is my wrist. This is an unstable joint, it moves all kinds of directions. I wanna lock it into one position and leave it there so that I can stack force behind it so that this little tiny joint that's unstable is now stacked and powerful. There's no chance for it to do something weird or tip off. So they're saying once the weight gets heavy enough, you're not gonna be able to do that. If you're doing it your way, yeah. Because you're starting your press by opening elbows, by pinching, flaring open and letting your chest basically flatten out and letting the bar come down and pushing it, which is like, that's pressing. It's not the best form of pressing, that's for damn sure. And I guarantee your chest probably looks like dog shit. So it's like, you can give people advice and you can tell them this and tell them that, but like, let's see your chest. You may be able to press a lot of weight, don't get me wrong, but that's not the goal. We want a developed chest where it's like we have, the whole pec is developed. My guess is if you sent me a picture of you, whoever you are, people complaining, you have outer pec and massive shoulders. That's it. You're not bodybuilding, you're just moving weights around. And that's what a lot of people are doing in this gym. They come here and say they're working out, but really all they're doing is moving weight around. I moved this 80-pound dumbbell over there, I picked it up, I did it a few times, I moved the 80-pound dumbbell back. I moved this 145-pound dumbbell, I did some things with it and I put it back. It's like you're moving furniture. See what I mean? So it's like I don't go and move my buddy's house with them and expect to get massive arms from lifting couches all day because I'm not focused on what I'm doing, right? This is an exact sport. This is like a finite thing where we're trying to like hit chest. So I don't care how much weight is on that bar, as long as it elicits some type of stress or some type of stimulus where it's like, I have to control the negative, I have to push through the contraction, I have to feel that weight, I have to cause stress on that muscle to the point where I can handle it and I can actually move through weight and understand I'm lifting a weight and I'm squeezing through my pecs, so therefore I'm trying to develop my chest. Because you could do the same type of press here and you could think about just your tricep. So I could take the same grip and I could do this. So I take the bar off, this is me benching. Me benching is me setting and coiling under and taking off here, right? And taking this down. If I want to hit tricep, all I have to do is come out of that position and be more flat backed, and I'm going to take the same grip, monkey grip that I'm taking here, and I'm going to tuck in and I'm going to collapse because I'm going to allow my tricep to drive out of the hole. So I'm going to cave in on triceps, I'm going to cave in on chest so I don't get as much engagement, and I'm going to drive off tricep. So it's just the mechanics of how you set up that's going to determine what you're working. Whereas a lot of you are just putting as much weight as you can on here so that you can go back and tell people, I did 3 plates today. And if you see them do the fucking weight, it's like this, like getting the weight off and then holding it here. And then it's like, bring it down, 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 bang, bang, and move it. So it's like, yeah, you moved the weight. Great, you get to say you bench 3 plates or 4 plates or 5 plates, but then you stand up and people are like, you don't look like you bench that. Whereas I'd rather look like I bench 6 plates and only bench 2 1/4 or 3 and do them clean and feel every little fiber of my chest working because I know how to lock down everything around my chest to be able to work my chest through the range, right? So looking like you're strong is way more important in bodybuilding than actually being strong, I would argue with people, right? So you have to understand too, like this leads into my next point, like this goal of always getting stronger and always like my weight's increasing and my PRs and this and that and my fucking this is going up, like my lat pull down PR, like what? If you're doing lat pull down right, you should never be able to do that whole stack. That's an insane amount of weight to do with a lat pull down. So it's like you have to understand like that mentality and way of thinking is really setting people up for failure. So it's setting you up to just, it's like a negative feedback loop. Because okay, my goal is like 4 plates. I got 4 plates on my bench. Well, you got to go up, man. Like, got to be 425. And then we get up to 425, it's like to 450. But it's like, are you in that time frame? Are you getting a better chest? Or are you just getting stronger at doing a movement? because those are very different things, right? Like I can get very strong at lifting a couch repetitively, or like picking up that bench. I could pick it up 5 times today, and I can aim for 6 times next week, but nothing's happening. I'm just getting better at lifting up that bench, right? Like that's what people need to break themselves of. Like everyone in life wants to have these metrics or these like mapped out plans of what they're supposed to do to see that they're getting ahead. When there's guys like me, and there's a lot of guys out there that I know are just like me. I just did a podcast with Dennis James, and I appreciate him having me on. He's a great guy, someone I really looked up to when I was bodybuilding, still do today. He's a great guy, a great trainer. It's like there's guys like him and me. I never fucking worked down a workout in my life. And I've said that before, because any top number I've ever hit, I remember. I don't need to write it down. It was a big accomplishment, right? So, and it wasn't like, oh, I got to that number and I want to do more. It's like I probably got to that number instead of never doing that again, because that was fucking brutal. You know what I mean? So it's like, I just don't see, people need to understand that the more you connect with weights and the more you like isolate and the more that you feel movement properly and you're able to put things on body parts and really see development happening because you're hitting that body part, that's the most important thing. And from that, the weight will go up, because it has to go up to create stimulus, because it's just going to be too light eventually. But it shouldn't be your goal to arbitrarily hit numbers. Like like these people who like calculate 1 rep maxes off of like 10 sets, your 10 rep max is calculated this, therefore you need to go for this. It's like, for what? Like in bodybuilding, that's super not applicable, because that's not our sport. If you were in a sport where you had to perform or you had to be explosive, you have to like football, you have to create that power. You have to be able to understand like how to move and like get power generated quickly. That carries over to the field, right? Those movements, different things carry over to the field. It's not carrying over for you guys, man. We're maximally stimulating and we're getting the fuck out of here. So like a lot of people that don't have much else going for them, physique-wise, will fall back on this like notion of like my strength. You know, I pulled 6 plates for 10. All right. But you're getting beat at the show by the guy who never does a deadlift ever. Like he maybe does rack pulls with 4 plates and he makes it look pretty as shit. And he's on his lats the whole time and he's just rocking. But like you get to tell people like, oh, my effort makes me a better bodybuilder. Nope, not a chance. Doesn't matter, man. It's like everything in life. You'll find that your effort on something only correlates in certain areas of your life, right? Not all the time does your effort equal like you're gonna be the best. So some people are just genetically gifted and they're gonna smoke you. Or some people connect better and they're like way more in tune with what they're doing and they're able to build their body, because this is bodybuilding. It is not power building. It's not a power sport. So that's just kind of my rant on that. I just came out with this merch basically the other day. I've been trying to get it done for a while, but there's been some hiccups. So I'm gonna try and launch. It's gonna be 2 hoodie variations, 2 t-shirt variations. Same styles in both, like just different colorways. So I'm gonna try and get that launched, a pre-sale or a pre-order done before Christmas, and then have orders launched out and sent out in the new year, like first week of the new year. So if you guys wanna grab it and support, or piss people off in your gym with what it says on the back of my hoodie, then you can do that. This shot's fired.